Namaste everyone. Very warm welcome to this broadcast today. Moji ji ki jai. Ananta ji ki jai. Sangha ki jai. Just quickly put my phone on silent. It's good to be broadcasting on the YouTube platform. It seems much more intuitive and simpler to understand. So, for anyone on the YouTube channel, if there's something that you want to share or you want to ask, you can ask on the YouTube chat, or you can also come out on the Hangout. Namaste, Nitya. Very happy to have you with us here today. So you can come on the Hangout as well if you prefer to. What do you feel about the YouTube platform? It seems very intuitive and easy to use, isn't it? So this is the first time I'm broadcasting from my home. So I'm not sure. She needs to eat something first. Yes, sure. So please do tell me if the video and audio are okay. Yeah, and if there's any problem, you can let me know. Very easy, yes. So, one of the contemplations that was arising for me was this question of what do we resist? What is it that we don't want to happen? What is it that we're saying shouldn't happen? Hmm? So it seems to me that when the master says stop searching, he's asking us to stop searching so that we can see things as they already are, that they are already perfect. But it seems to me also that he's not asking us to stop searching in the sense that initially with the seeker identity, when we search, there is the sense that something is incomplete. There is the sense that I am not where I should be. There's a feeling that there's something fundamentally wrong with my position currently. So it is not the searching that he's condemning, it is the assumption behind the searching. It is the assumption behind the searching that is being questioned in satsang. So if it's completely clear to us that everything is complete, then nothing can go wrong, then what is the problem? Namaste, Atma dearest. So we were just sharing, we were just contemplating. What is it that we truly don't want to happen? Is there something that we feel shouldn't happen? So this contemplation has been arising for me, which is that we see the blessing in the seeming negative things. So for all of us in satsang, maybe one of the things that we might feel is that I never want to step back into separation again. I never want to become prideful again. I never want to become arrogant again. So one of the things that we need to see is if there's a movement away from arrogance, pride, and separation towards unity, if this movement is arising from the joy of the exploration of truth, or is it arising from the fear of arrogance and separation and pride and all of these things? In letting go, are we letting go because of fear, or are we letting go because of joy? So one of the things that has been arising for me to ask myself all the time is, what is the blessing of this? Because it seems to me that as long as we have division saying this shouldn't happen, this is what we're conveying to the world. This is the hidden message that we are conveying through our presence to the world. If we are not okay with something like arrogance or pride, we are essentially conveying that to the world, saying, I'm not okay with someone who's arrogant. I'm not okay with someone who's prideful. But he who calls a sage, sage is the one that is okay with everything, because he sees perfection even in separation. Atma Beloved says, I don't want to be unaware as my surroundings. As my surroundings. Can you explain that, my dear? That's my one. Actually, we can work together, because I'll bring up what's the strong one that's for me here. So we can look at these two things together, and we can look at it together. So inherent in our feelings that I don't want something to happen is the feeling that life doesn't already know what it should give, what it should unfold as. So for example, a very simple one that we hear is when the master says, let go of your next thought, we seem to feel that I should never believe, I should never suffer, I should never believe. Now, if you look at this one, you say, I shouldn't believe. Now, I shouldn't believe is quite okay as it is if it's coming from joy. If it's coming from fear, then in the seed of that fear, the belief will manifest again, so to say. So we can ask ourselves, what could be the blessing of believing? Atma says, of my nearest ones, family. So instead of letting go completely out of fear, we can ask ourselves, what is the blessing that this seeming negative situation brings to us? If this whole life is unfolding through this beingness, from this beingness, we can ask the question, what is the blessing it's bringing to us? Because it is always in service to us. As Father says, even truth, even love, peace, and joy are in service to us. So we can ask ourselves, every situation, every event is in service to us. So the contemplation we can have when we say, I don't want this is, what is this trying to tell me? What is this trying to offer? What is this trying to serve? How is this trying to serve me? So this example came to me is that, say there's this new kind of theater, movie theater, and a new kind of movie, where in this theater you can go into the movie and you can believe yourself to be the character in the movie. It is completely revolutionary kind of a movie theater, and you have the complete freedom to believe that you're one of the characters in the movie. So if this is the case, wouldn't you want to go to that movie? You completely are aware that you are not a character in the movie. Then if by going to this movie you can pretend to be a character in the movie, wouldn't you want to pretend? If you see most of the movies that we like, most of the shows that we like, or whatever that we like, is when we relate to what's happening. When we relate to the characters. We say a movie is good if we could relate to the characters, if we could understand the characters. So consciousness, the movie of consciousness, is a special kind of movie where we can also pretend to be a character. So instead of asking, why am I believing? Why am I suffering? Why am I considering myself to be separate? We can say, when this happens, why not? This is not to say that we continue in our separation, but this is to say, God decided to do this. There's nothing wrong in any of this unfolding. Atma is saying it's a challenge actually to be in this kind of environment. It's always pointing me back to my real nature. Absolutely. In fact, right in the midst of that challenge, we don't even need to remember, we don't even need to be pointed back, because right in the midst of this challenge is our real nature. This challenge itself is our real nature. This challenge itself is serving us. And this challenge is something that our own beingness wants to experience, so that it can have the contrast of the non-challenge. So one of the things that we see is that in this realm of consciousness, everything is about contrast. There's the contrast of separation and union. There's the contrast of pain and pleasure. There's the contrast of turbulence and peace. So if our beingness itself has decided to delude ourselves and enjoy the sweet fruits of transcendence, Who are we to question it? And actually, even to look at it this way is not entirely accurate, because we can see that even in the midst of a feeling of separation, if we just go to the energetic sensation of it, and we don't believe this, the stories about this feeling, we see that it's actually a great sort of contrast. It's a great feeling, Yeah, I don't know how else to explain it. It's that when else can you experience this? It is not just in the resolution of this feeling that we feel the peace, but also in the occurring of this tension. An insight also occurred to me is that what we call pleasure is the sense of pain in a very, very mild form. So when this pleasure becomes very strong, it can also become painful sometimes. So what we're interested in satsang is, how does truth move? How does truth move? Because truth moves out of joy. Truth moves out of completeness. Truth moves out of harmony. Truth never moves out of lack. Truth never moves out of incompleteness. Even in the seeming incompleteness, there is complete fulfillment of it. So one of the things we can contemplate is, how does truth want to move? How does truth sees this? So in our seeking freedom, in our seeking liberation, so to say, the seeking itself wasn't wrong, but the seeker was a mistake. The seeker was a misidentified idea. It is the nature of life to explore. Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj once said, it is in the nature of being to alternate with becoming, and this is the way it explores. If being wants to feel that it has a sense of control, it becomes a person. And the person tries to control, but the person is non-existent. But the being gets to feel the fruits of this. And the being itself has chosen this. It in itself cannot be wrong. So our wanting freedom is not because bondage is wrong, but our wanting freedom is because that's the way the truth moves. It is that truth wants to explore itself in a more deeper and a more profound way. It is not trying to avoid bondage. It is not trying to avoid separation. Truth doesn't see separation, doesn't see bondage. And Nitya's here on the Hangout. Namaste, my dear. Do you want to say something? It's so nice to see you. So nice to see you. My internet is too slow, cannot hear you. Do you want to try to unmute and maybe say something? It's up to you. It's up to you. We'll try again. Okay, my dear. Okay. So much love. So much love. So if we are clear that we are the awareness as it is, if you are clear that all that I am um, is perfect, then what are we trying to avoid? Are we letting go because we're scared of something? Or are we letting go because that is the way consciousness is moving? Ah, there she is. Namaste, my dear. Is it okay now?
It's okay now. I can hear you.
So good, so good.
I will unmute. I will mute again because I can understand you better than.
Is there something you want to share?
No, not right now.
Please feel free to unmute whenever you feel like sharing something. So, in our silence and in our peace, is there a sense of avoidance? Is there a feeling that something shouldn't happen? Is there a feeling that I shouldn't be a certain way? So, if there is, we can look at it quietly as to what is the blessing that that brings. Often, what tends to happen that there is a feeling that I shouldn't be a certain way. Then, also along with it is a feeling that I shouldn't feel this sense of tension as well. And instead of completely buying into this tension and stories about it, we can just look at this tension and see if it is pointing us back to something that is true. So, for example, right in this moment, if there was some arrogance that were to arise here, a feeling might come to say, I shouldn't be arrogant. Okay, a feeling might come to say, I shouldn't be arrogant. At the same time, there's a feeling that may also come and say, I shouldn't be feeling this tension as well. So instead of trying to create a state of non arrogance or humility, we can look and see, are we trying to run away from arrogance? Because trying to run away from arrogance is actually arrogance. Oh. This is a public broadcast. So this feeling sometimes that I shouldn't be a certain way can sometimes be a great guide also. Sometimes it could be just the egoic voice, but sometimes it could also be a great guide. And we need not categorize it as just one thing. We can explore it as and when it arises. If a feeling of peace is not here, and a thought comes and says, I should be feeling peace, we can look at this thought. We can look at what is wrong with not feeling peace. As Father was saying yesterday in satsang, if there was joy all the time, then I wouldn't even know that there's something called as joy. Atma says, beautiful Om, such a heart you are, love you. Love you too, my dear. She also says Nitya is always laughing. I call her Laughing Buddha. So I feel like the truth is calling us to bless separation. It's calling us to bless arrogance. It's calling us to bless pride. It's calling us to bless anger. If we ourselves are running away from it, what are we conveying to the world? We are essentially conveying to the people who might be carrying some pride and some arrogance that you shouldn't be here this way, that you are imperfect. But that is not true, is it? So the truth is calling us to transcend these feelings of separation and then to come back and bless it. The truth seeks to complete itself not because it is incomplete, but because it's its own joy to complete itself. The truth is never incomplete, yet it seeks to complete itself. The truth is never not here, yet it seeks to find itself here. So one of the fundamental things that we can question is this assumption that we may have that I may fundamentally go wrong somewhere. For a lot of us, we can carry this feeling that I can fundamentally go wrong. There is something that I can do, there is something that I can become, which can be fundamentally a misfit in existence. Adi Shanti calls this sometimes a part of the psyche of people because the founding stories of creation was that Adam and Eve made a mistake by biting the apple of creation. Namaste, Bhagavati. Namaste, Father. Father says, Om dearest, we can move the camera back to you so that we can. Ah, okay, okay. Oh, it is me controlling it. Okay, okay. So I keep remembering Father saying all the time that all is good. So this all is good takes on newer and newer meanings for me. If all is really good, how can there be a thing that is a misfit in existence? Namaste, Prema. Nitya says it's really strange to sit here with Om and you guys are all outside. So this contemplation has been arising here. What is the way that the truth moves? And the truth never moves out of lack. The truth never moves out of fear. The truth never moves out of incompleteness. The truth always moves out of joy. So sometimes when a master points out something, we feel like maybe he's asking us to avoid the other thing. This advice that the master gives is only to help us clarify in our heart what is it that we truly want. For example, for most of us who come to satsang and suffered, Father says, don't believe your next thought. This is to clarify that I, I will not suffer if I don't believe my thoughts. This is in no way to say that suffering is wrong. As Father says, suffering is grace. I'm tempted to click on Nitya and see what she's up to. She's really having a good time.
Oh, I'm just burning here. So that's why I have to laugh all the time.
Sorry, say that again. Say that again.
I just said I'm just burning here all the time, so I have to laugh.
So beautiful. I was listening to Adi Shanadi's interview yesterday. He released this new book called Resurrecting Jesus. I think a few months back, I think, and he was saying this phase in his life where about for 4 years he experienced deep intestinal pains, and the pain was so strong that he would go into shocks, and he had to be taken into emergency rooms. And he recalled that there was one time in the middle of a retreat, he had just finished giving a talk, and he had to be taken to the hospital, and because he had the shock because of the pain was so intense, and he said for about 4 years there was not a specialist that he didn't see. He tried all kinds of medicine, Western medicine, alternative medicine, all kinds of medicine, and he said that all the things that he knew, all the realization that he had had about truth was not useful in that moment when he was completely in the shock of that pain. And he said this went on for about 4 years where he had no idea what this pain was. And he said it was only when he completely accepted that no one can help me, I'm completely alone in this. He said a voice came in him which said, avoid all sweet and wheat, apparently. And he said after 3 days, it completely went away. And he said that experience, he's never fearful of that experience again. He said that experience brought him to appreciate, it gave him a sense of gratitude, to a sense of well-being, to a sense of constant well-being. So sometimes the being can play this way, it can create contrasts. He was relating this to the story of Jesus as well. When Jesus had an intuition that he was going to be crucified, he said, Father, have you forsaken me? And apparently, there was another part of the story that I heard where he wanted to speak to his disciples. He said, I'm completely alone. And apparently, he was saying to God, God, anything but this. Please, not this. Please, not this. So there was this very beautiful thing that he said. He said, you cannot be human and grandiose at the same time. Atma says, thank you for sharing this poem about the pain, that no one can help me, that I'm completely alone in this. Very great. Yes. So we cannot be human and grandiose at the same time. We are completely untouched as the awareness, yet on another level, we are human as well. Nothing in existence is a mistake, and nothing in existence can make us a misfit in it. Atma says, I can connect with that. Yes. I remember this feeling as well that, I had some experiences with very strong energies as well. And I remember, in my heart, I was, I had a relationship with Father and Mujiji in my heart, and also an external relationship. But there was a feeling, Father used to say that it's going to be okay. Nothing can touch you. But somehow, even his word somehow didn't like, it gave me a sense of peace. It gave me a sense of um, hope. But somehow it didn't completely cure it. Somehow just connecting with him in my heart and relating to him within my own heart, I was able to see that this energy was something phenomenal too. Adam is here. Namaste, Adam. So happy to see you in satsang yesterday. So we explored this example the earlier in the broadcast that if we could go into a movie theater, which is a special kind of theater, and we could identify ourselves as one of the characters, wouldn't we want to watch that movie? Wouldn't we enjoy watching that movie if, for the duration of the movie, we can act as the character in the movie? And we see these things with the 3D movies as well, isn't it? It almost feels like you're a part of the movie, and we pay extra money to go and watch these kind of movies. Nitya saying, please join here, beloveds. It's very beautiful, actually. She's still laughing. Um, so there was I think I went to this, I think it was a toy museum or something like this in London. Was that a toy? It was a wax museum, the famous wax museum. Madame Tussauds went to this museum, and towards the end of this, all the wax statues and all of that, came this experience called it was the 4D movie. It was the 4D movie. So what they did was they gave you a glass, and you could see the movie in a 3D way, and also there was the experience that if it was raining in the movie, you could feel the rain, and the seat would move as well according to the what was happening in the movie, and it was so great. All of us enjoyed that. It was just a 10-minute movie. Actually, if we sit right in this moment and look back at all the things that we have felt have gone wrong in our lives, and we explore, was it really true? Did we really experience something wrong in our life? Or was it just that it was just one interpretation that we bought to be the entire truth? And we'll see that there were many good things that came out of it. I remember someone going up to Mujiji and asking Mujiji that I have some sort of a shyness. I may be mistaking this, but the questioner asked something like, "I have a problem," basically. And she explained this whole problem to Mooji, and Mooji said, "What is the good that has come out of your problem?" So our problems are not to be avoided; it's to be relished. I remember someone from the Sangha quoting a Papaji quote. Apparently, Papaji said, "Enjoy the time of separation because it's not going to last long." So when we're away from our beloved, the anticipation, it cannot be a mistake. If this whole play is projected from our own being, it has to be divine, is it not? So it's our own being which likes to feel isolated so that it can also feel that it is deeply held in the arms of God. And in this play, it seems like contrast is the nature of the game. So wherever we are right now is absolutely perfect. We don't need to ever ask ourselves, am I doing something wrong? So it is love that makes us say, if I could do all of this all over again, I'd not think twice. And love is the very fabric of this creation. In our resistance, in our suffering, in our agony, in our pain, in our pleasure, in our joy, in all of it is just love. As Mujiji says, this is a mighty game. There's a video of his, I think it's about a 4 or 5 minute video. He says, no matter what's happening, no matter where you are, it's all good. He said it's all good. There was a Adi Shanti quote that I used to find greatly confusing. He would say, enjoy yourself even when you're not enjoying. And I used to think, what does he mean by this? How can you enjoy yourself when you're not enjoying? So resistance is only telling us, it's only gently pointing us back to that which always is. It's only gently pointing us back to the truth. Resistance cannot be a mistake. If there was no resistance, then we would never know, even if we strayed from the truth, so to say. It is a divine mechanism to remind ourselves that there's more for us to see, so to say. That something can be let go, that something is misunderstood. It is a correction mechanism, in fact. So when we feel sometimes uh, feelings such as jealousy, anger, um, more than anger, resentment, um, greed, along with this feeling is accompanied the feeling that I shouldn't be feeling this way. So if this feeling wasn't present, we would never even know that there might be a possibility to refine ourselves, so to say. That there's a possibility to express ourselves in a way that is more aligned with the truth. So this feeling cannot be a mistake. So instead of completely buying the story about this feeling, we can gently look into what this feeling might be saying. It looks like she's really having a good time.
I have to say it's not possible to believe all the thoughts here, and sitting with you and believing thoughts is just impossible.
Sorry,
I,
the voice was a bit too much.
I'm just saying, sitting with you and believing thoughts is impossible. Sitting is just impossible. That's why I always have to laugh about every thought which is coming. So beautiful. Just beautiful. And a lot of thoughts are coming. Very. It's just. So nice.
Beautiful meeting of the one. So, as Father said, sometimes I really like the way he describes this. Is that we can look at it like a day in the life of the character of Om, a day in the life of the character of Nitya, like this. So it's almost like what's new in the movie today. Some excitement, some drama. Tomorrow maybe some more peace, some more joy. Day after some more action, you know. It's 31st after all. We all need to party a bit. Ananta Peace says, how's this ID Bhagavati ji? So I got this music CD from Moji Sangha, which was called Into the Deep Blue. So in that, the introductory track was a few words by Mujiji, where he says, wherever you are, wherever you might be, right there is the door to your inmost being. He wasn't saying when there's deep frustration, there's no door. He wasn't saying when you're deeply caught up in your separation, there's no door. He was not saying any of these things. He was saying wherever you are, wherever you might be, right there is the door to your inmost being. Right here, right here, right here. It cannot be otherwise. Ananta P says Adventures of Om and Nitya. Sounds like a comic book.
What? I didn't understood. What? I didn't understand it.
Ananta P says Adventures of Om and Nitya. So I said it sounds like a comic book. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya Om. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Arunachala Shiva. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Satguru Sri Mujiji. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Anantaya. May our heads forever be at the lotus feet of the Master. May we see only love where there is separation. May we only see the Master's, may we only see through the Master's eyes. Om Namah Shivaya. Sangha ki Jai. Thank you all so very much for joining in today. We'll terminate the broadcast now. It was a beautiful hour together.
Thank you.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you, Prema.